talk CNAs. Let's talk CNAs. Let's talk CNAs. Let's talk CNAs. Let's talk CNAs.
Hello and welcome to Let's Talk CNAs, a show for CNAs by CNAs. I'm your host Wendell, and this is my awesome co-host Angel.
Hello, and we are here at Maryville Care Center in Phoenix, Arizona. And we are here to talk about fire and safety with Robert, the safety guy.
Yes, we are. That promised to be a great show. So, Angel, are you ready to start the show?
I sure am.
Well, let's get crunk. All right, so thank you for being on the show, Robert. Today we'll be talking about safety, fire and safety. This is Safety Month, August. So our first question to you would be, how do the hammer hit the nail?
As long as you're not the one with the hammer, because you'll lose it.
I don't know, everybody thought that question would be so funny for you, Robert. So anyway, no, but all seriously, this is National Safety Month, so we thought it would be appropriate to have Robert, the safety man, on the show today. So again, thank you for being on the show, sir. All right. So Robert, some of the questions that most of the CNAs has asked us to ask you, one is being, what is OSHA and what is it for?
OSHA is Occupational Health and Safety Administration.
Mm-hmm.
It was created by Congress back in 1970.
Oh, wow.
And then signed into law by, I believe, President Nixon, right around December of that same year.
Okay.
It's there to protect you in your job. It gives you the right to work in a safe environment without injury, death. It's also there to reduce injuries. It's a check and balances.
Okay.
You can did your homework.
That's Robert, the safety man.
That's right. All right. Okay. So, what advice can you give us to prevent injuries at the workplace?
It all depends on the workplace. If you take our building, you got to know your neighbors. You got to know your care plans. Don't put yourself into an unsafe situation. I investigate all employee-related injuries here, and 90% of the injuries that I investigate, we caused in some way.
Right. Exactly.
We come up behind somebody, we grab their wheelchair and start pushing it down the way. We spill something on the floor, we don't clean it up.
Yeah.
We take a brief that's full of BM and throw it in the trash.
Ooh,
and it splatters back on us. It's happened.
Right.
We go in the shower room and we're washing somebody, and we take a washcloth and put it over their face like this.
Without any warning.
Right.
Yeah.
What's your reaction if that happens to you? You're going to freak out. Right. And we do it.
Yes.
And it happens all the time. Some injuries just happen. But most all of the ones that I've researched we can prevent.
Exactly.
Work as a team.
Yes.
Okay. A Hoyer lift should always be two people, not one person.
You hear that, guys? 2 people.
Deuces.
One person operating, one person negotiating the neighbor. It should always be that way. If you've got somebody that their ADLs aren't there that day and it's not care planned for 2 people to transfer them, get help. Ask for help to transfer them.
Right.
Don't try and do it alone. Don't risk back injury.
Right.
I try and teach every new CNA that orientates here. You come to work safe, you go home safe.
Right.
Okay?
Exactly.
Go to your other CNAs, ask for help. If they refuse your help, go to your nurse. Hey nurse, I'm not getting the help that I need. Don't throw the CNAs under the bus.
Right.
Can you help me or get the help that I need? If that doesn't happen, then work as safe as you can.
Yeah, right.
And then the next day, You come to me in writing, who, what, when, where, and why, and I will go after people for their safety.
That's right.
It's unacceptable.
Very unacceptable.
In all facilities, that's something that all facilities should really be practicing.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
So Robert, I heard you use the word neighbors. Can you explain to the audience what do you mean when you say neighbors?
It's more of a, we found that it's more of a dignity thing here. When you say residents, it's less personal, okay? A lot of our population here, they come here and they stay here. They've been here for years. So for us, calling them neighbors just gives it a little bit more personal touch. They're part of us, they're part of the building, and they're part of what we do every day.
Yeah. Good. All right. Thank you, sir. All right, Robert. What are some of the recommendations you can give us for fire and disaster drills?
The guidelines for fire and disaster drills are constantly evolving and changing as far as the definition of the rules.
Okay.
The way we do it here, and there's really no right or wrong answer to a fire drill.
Okay.
Right.
One of the biggest things that I'm looking for during a drill is the nurse taking charge.
Right.
Okay? The nurses are the ones in control. They are the captains of the ship. They're the last ones off the unit. They're supposed to be asking for census counts when they evacuate to wherever they evacuate to. Or if the fire's not on their unit, still asking for a census count because all the doors open up. And that's during any type of chaos is when somebody can get out.
Exactly.
So on a side note on that, what I also teach everybody here is when you're doing your census count, you put your eyes on their eyes,
That's
okay? Because it covers two different things. One, it's a stop and watch. It helps.
right.
You can tell if somebody's scared, and that extra 2 seconds of comfort will go a long way.
Right.
You can tell if somebody's dehydrated, sick, whatever, it's there.
Right.
Plus, I'm required to do elopement drills. I have been known to steal a neighbor during a drill
Oh wow.
and put pillows in the bed and cover it up with
You
pillows.
crafty.
45 minutes later, the director of nursing's upset because that neighbor was reported in bed asleep
Right.
when they really weren't.
Exactly.
It was a learning experience for us. And so that's why I teach it that way now for everybody. But again, there's no right or wrong on a fire drill. It's basically communication. And that's where any disaster starts with. Communication. Talking to each other, shouting out orders. If you're easily offended because your nurse is yelling at you to do something, I'm sorry, you're going home safe today.
Right.
We have to practice for a reason.
That's right.
And that's what I instruct everybody on.
All right. Thank
That's
you. That
awesome.
sounds good, Robert. Thank you.
So can you share with us the acronym of RACE and PASS? And after you share that with us, can you demonstrate PASS?
RACE is basically rescue, alarm, contain, extinguish, or evacuate.
Okay.
And for us here, it's printed on the back of our badges. It's part of every fire drill. Everybody's educated on it afterwards and required to remember it. As far as how it would work in the environment, one of our ways that we do fire drills is drill cards.
Oh,
Okay, I'll walk up to Wendell, I'll give him a drill card. All right, by the time you're done reading this, you have a fire in room 303, bed A is asleep, bed B is out in the hallway, doors closed, smoke billowing out from underneath the door, the alarms are not going off. What do you do? At that point, I'm looking for Ray's. His first question should be, is the door hot?
Right.
Is the door cold? Okay, because if the door's hot, you have to evacuate your unit because it's already out of control.
Exactly.
If it's cold, then you can go in there, do what you need to do to rescue. You're yelling out to people, hey, hold the alarms. You're trying to contain it by using the extinguisher. Keep in mind, most fire extinguishers are only 8 to 12 seconds. they won't last that long. Okay? But it buys you that few extra seconds.
Nice.
Pass, pull, basically you grab the fire extinguisher, pull the pin, squeeze the trigger, and then you aim at the base of the fire. Okay, and you sweep back and forth.
Right.
Very carefully, very slowly, not like it's a machine gun or anything like that,
Yeah.
but very slowly. You want the base of the fire because that's where the oxygen is, that's where the fuel is, and that's where everything's happening. If you're shooting it above the fire, it's not going to do you any good.
We want to thank Robert, the safety guy, for being on the show, and we would like to thank Maryville Care Center. And make sure you check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
That's right. And I want to thank you for watching the show. And we'll see you next time on Let's Talk CNA, where knowledge is empowerment.
Let's talk CNA. 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 Let's talk CNA.